Hi everybody! You know the phrase in carpentry that says measure twice, cut once? Well, I feel like that applies to calligraphy as well. But there is a myth in the world that it's cheating to sketch out and trace over your calligraphy before you actually put ink to paper. You can go ahead and get rid of that myth, get that out of your mind, because I think it is much smarter to take the time to measure out your words, space them out right, pencil them in so that you can go in and add ink later, and it's much harder to get rid of an unwanted ink stroke than it is to readjust a flourish or a pencil sketch and then erase that later. So I'm going to show you my process for kind of laying out my artwork before I get started. I take a lot of time. Most of the time is spent actually on spacing and sketching and getting my pencil marks exactly where I want them. And then I make them really, really light so that I can go over with my calligraphy pointed pen and my ink, put the ink right where I want it, wait for it to dry, and then erase the pencil lines. So something that is also really important that I'll talk about is your tools. If you're not using the right kind of paper or eraser or pencil, it can be really, really frustrating and difficult to get rid of unwanted pencil lines. So we'll go over all of that in today's video. So the first thing I do is pull out my graph paper and put little X's on the X height. That's where the body of my letters will go. The ascending and descending loops will go above and below this line. I like to use Rhodia graph paper, but you can use any high quality graphing paper to sketch out exactly where you want your letters and your flourishes to go. Then I pull out my light box, but you can use a perfectly good window for this. You just need to be able to see through the piece of paper. And I trace over the pencil lines that are on the graph paper onto a piece of plain paper. And again, I'm using a Rhodia pad of plain paper, not graph paper. After you turn off your light box or take your paper down from the window, if you had it taped there, you'll be able to see a lot clearer, like right here, where exactly your pencil lines go. So you can play around with them, erase them, and get them right where you want them. Then it's time to put ink to paper. I found that one of my favorite ink paper pen combinations is the Brass EF66 nib with the walnut ink and my Rhodia paper pad. I just love how smooth it is and the thin hairlines. Wait for your ink to dry and erase it. And here are my tools. So today I used my Rhodia pad of paper that comes in all different shapes and sizes. So here is my pen holder and the nib that I mentioned earlier in the brass flange. Here is my very favorite eraser. It works really well. And this is the walnut ink. I put all my inks into their own jars. I also included my pencil here. So here is a list of all of the tools that I used for today's video. Alright, so I hope today's video tutorial was helpful for you, especially if you're just getting started with calligraphy or hand lettering. I specifically was doing pointed pen calligraphy, but all of the same principles apply to hand lettering. You might just be using slightly different tools. So if you ever have questions or comments, feel free to either comment below on my blog post or on this video, and hop over, follow my Instagram, and feel free to pop in my DMs with any questions or concerns that you have, and I would love to chat. See you next time.